All right, folks, we are back here, part two of the Open Mic program. Myself, Michael Cohen, along with Karen Vankat. Now, in part two here, we're going to talk about the New York Yankees managerial search, which has gone on seemingly forever. But it looks like the Yankees are narrowing down their list of candidates and may be coming to a decision soon. The question is this: will the Yankees hire a manager before the Jets and Giants fire their coaches? That is the question for the rest of the year.
I guess they will. I would think they would get it done before Christmas.
It would be nice.
You would think before the end of the year. Now they interviewed Beltran today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what I don't understand, though, and I'm a little taken aback. I understand them taking their time with this in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that because you want to get it right. All right. And you want this next manager, you want to last again. Think about it. There was a precedence here. Torrey was 10 years. Joe was 10. The next guy you want here to be a decent amount of time. You've got a nice young nucleus here. You've got a dynasty almost type situation happening. If they get that pitcher from Japan, you know, I mean, that they don't have to add too many pieces.
No.
They really don't.
No.
Because they've got stuff in the farm yet knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And Cashman already said, and let's give kudos to Cashman, Executive of the Year. He won, which is definitely deserved. I mean, with everything that they did, and he finagled, and those deals he made at the deadline, and everything he did, and plus bringing in the young kids and forcing that issue, he deserves that. But why did they hire Rothschild right away without, like, immediately? We have to lock him up. Is he that good? I don't think so. I would love to see David Cohen as the pitching coach. If you listen to any Yankee broadcast all year, any with David Cohen, the guy knows his stuff beyond question. Plus, he's been there. He's been on the mound. He's tough. He's mentally tough. I would love to see Cohen as the pitching coach. Without question.
It wouldn't be bad.
What was the rush for Rothschild?
I don't know.
Why did we have to do that?
And to do that without a manager in place. I mean, what if the guy you bring in wants his own guy? I mean, that's what I don't understand. Like, what? He was so good that we just couldn't let him go? No. So let me pose this to you, because to me the Yankees have kind of dragged this out too long in a lot of ways. They're really playing. They're betting against themselves here. Everyone else has a manager. All the hirings are done except for the Yankees. I know that baseball now is all about the general manager, and the general manager has more say. The front office has more say in what goes on the field than ever before. So I totally get that. But what kind of manager are the Yankees planning to bring in here? Because it seems to me they really don't have a plan. Maybe they had an idea what they wanted, but it doesn't seem like either A, it's working out for them, or that they ever really had a plan post Joe Girardi. It seems like, okay, well, you know what, let's just get rid of Joe Girardi. Do we really have a plan? Well, we're going to try to bring in a young guy. We don't know really who. So they go to Aaron Boone, they go to Chris Woodward, they could bring in Beltran now, Rob Thompson, who I think probably should be the manager of this team since he's been there for so long, but I don't know if that from what I read today in the Post, it didn't sound like that interview went too well. They have all these options.
I think it's time for new blood completely.
Yeah.
That's why the Rothschild thing floored me a little bit. I think all new coaches. I think you've got young guys here that want to learn. You've got young guys coming up in flux. You've got some veterans. I just think you need a voice. Joe was abrasive, never mind with the media, which, you know, he was from day one, and it used to get worse and worse. He was getting more and more sarcastic, I noticed, in his post games when they lost. So, but you want him to be able to communicate with these young guys. And I don't know. I think they're looking more for a communication thing more than the analytics and all that stuff. Because they're going to send down the book with the analytics, and now he's got to look in the book. But Joe, they said Joe and Cashman in the end really weren't seeing eye to eye. But Joe never used his gut. Do you think, they keep explaining the analytics, but do you think Cashman would say once in a while in his head, because he saw the Joe Torres, he's been there for a while, Cashman. He was a young intern. He started in the organization, worked his way. So he's been there for what? Probably 30 years.
Yeah, 25,
really.
30 years now, yeah. He's been there for a long time.
You sometimes got to use your gut. The guy's out there. He would just run out. You think Cashman called down from the box and said, Joe, go take him out? No. That's not the way it works.
No,
I'm sorry, whatever other people think. Even George didn't do that. George never called to the dugout to say, go make a move. He never did that, as you know how he was. Mm-hmm. So I doubt that Cashman's calling down in the middle of a game and telling Joe, go to the next pitcher. Take him out right away. No. Mm-hmm. Joe was trigger happy with that. And you couldn't even give a guy a chance. He's wiping the ground with these guys. Give him another inning. All right, wait till he gets in trouble. Why are you pulling so quickly? And then the reliever implodes because it was time for him. A reliever's not going to be perfect all the time. Eventually, these guys lose or don't have it. But you got a guy who's doing fantastic. Why are you pulling him after 5 innings? It wasn't even 100 pitches. That's what Joe used to do. That didn't come from upstairs. Everybody says, organizational. That's one thing Michael Kay drives me crazy. Organizational. They're organizational decisions. Not in the middle of a game is it an organizational decision. There's no way Cashman's calling down saying, pull this guy now.
No, I don't think it's I agree with you there. It's not in the middle of the game, but I do think that pre-game, you're putting your game notes together. You're getting your prep work in for the game. That the general manager does have, and the people in the front office, the scout people, do have a say. Player development guys do have a say, or some say of what's going on. That's what I'm getting. This, especially with this baseball analytics that everyone's now in love with now in baseball. Something that even I don't even understand from the standpoint that, like you, I prefer to go with my gut most of the time from what I'm seeing, what's happening on the field at the time. But that's what it is. They put together these big books. I mean, just take a look at what you saw in the World Series with the Astros. A.J. Hinch has this huge binder that he's standing over. It's almost like a play sheet in football almost. It's like that. It's a huge binder with all these different things that he has to look at. And that's where the front office is having an impact, is on the book that these managers now have to look at during the game.
But do you know what's not in the book?
Yes.
You're dealing with human beings.
That's right.
And you're dealing with heart. And you're dealing with, if people went by analytics, Derek Jeter would never have been Derek Jeter.
I know.
Because Derek Jeter made himself what he was. He was, remember 56 errors his first year in the minors. He was crying. He was going to go home. All right. He was so bad. All right. And if you looked at analytics back then, the way they treat it now, you would have sent him home. We don't want him on our team. You've got to remember you're dealing with human beings. And the book doesn't show you heart. It doesn't show you guts. I mean, Andy Pettit and David Cohen, two of the gutsiest pitchers I've ever seen on a mound. David Cohen, after an aneurysm, pitched almost a complete game. I mean, really, coming back from that, that's what it doesn't measure. And even Coney, who likes stats and all that stuff, and he says it on the air, he even says it, though, too. You can't measure the human element of a person. That doesn't come in a formula.
I agree.
Or a mathematical formula. So when that's happening in front of you, on the mound, out in the field, you got to know what you're looking at. And it's not always the book. And that's my cry. You got to look at the human part. And if that guy is going above and beyond, or I don't know, pitching out his mind, and he's got them under control, what are you doing? Oh, well, we went 90 pitches, boom, out. No, it doesn't work like that. Yes, you're given statistics, all right, and you're given, like, probability, but it's not always absolute.
I agree.
Like a math problem.
That's why this managerial hire is so important for this team, because, yes, they have all the star power there with Judge and with Sanchez and with Bird, and they have all this power in the lineup, and you have Tanaka there in the rotation, and you have, of course, Chapman there in the bullpen closing games out. There's a lot of talent here. But who's going to manage that talent? Who's going to manage all the personalities in that locker room? Who's going to keep this team in line during a 5-game losing streak, or 10 games out of 15 or whatever they lose in a row, whatever, something like that? Who's going to keep this team moving during the dog days of the summer? You need to have a manager who has good people skills. And
that's what they talk about, Torrey.
Yeah. You need to have that with Torrey. You have that with Torrey. Even Girardi, even as abrasive as he came off as in the media, he did something in that locker room to manage a lot of those personalities, and he had some of the craziest personalities in the world with guys like A-Rod and even Jeter, for that matter, big personalities, and he was able to manage that group. And a lot of those guys were his teammates. Right. So who are you going to bring in here? Does Aaron Boone coming out of a broadcast booth, to me anyway, come across as a guy who's going to command respect? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe he has something that I don't see right now. I don't think so.
They said he interviewed very well. Yeah. I don't know, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Now, the guy that the guy that kind of piques my interest a little bit is Beltran, only from the standpoint that the guys in the Astros, even though Beltran was a player, a so-called player coach or player bench guy, whatever he was over there in Houston, the players over there loved Carlos Beltran. They would go to him for advice. They would go to him for instruction and guidance. So that says something to me. That, you have a bunch of guys who are millennials, let's just quote for what it is, the millennial generation, going to a guy in Carlos Beltran who's just recently played and been on the field, a guy that they know.
Well, and they all know
means
them.
Something. Yeah, they all know him. It means something.
He was just with them 2 years ago. Yeah. So even though they weren't up with the big club, they knew him through spring Judge, and those younger players do know who he is.
Yeah. So that selection would pique my interest if I were the Yankees.
He speaks Spanish too.
Yeah. That would be the interesting one to me. Chris Woodward, okay, he has some coaching experience with the Dodgers. That helps. As a third base coach, take it for what that is. And like you said, Thompson, the old guard, it might be time for new blood. So to me, I understand you want to go with the young guy, but you got to get a guy who can really communicate with these players. And they've got a lot of star players here and a team that's going to have a lot of high expectations. A lot of people are going to pick this team to win the World Series this year. So it's going to be tough.
Well, that's what I think they're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't understand the Rothschild, the quick hire. He was the only one so far that's been retained. I don't understand that when you don't even have a manager yet. That's like, getting the coach before the GM, hiring a coach before a GM when the GM needs to have a say.
Yeah.
In the situation, or player personnel guy needs to have a say. So that's what you're doing here with Rothschild. I don't understand it unless they talk to all the pitchers for some reason, or the pitchers did respond to him. Maybe Girardi was the ointment. I kept saying, every time he'd go out, my father, he'd be yelling too about Rothschild and Girardi. I said, I think Girardi, he has the ultimate say. So even if Rothschild's telling him, leave the guy out there, Girardi's got the last word. No, I'm going to go get him. Girardi always had a quick hook. I don't think that was all Rothschild.
Yeah. Yeah,
so maybe there was friction there too.
Maybe there was a lot of talk of friction with that team. I mean, there was even talk. Now I don't know how true this is, but I was listening to Michael Kay at the time, shortly after Girardi was dismissed, that he had a lot. There were a lot more issues in that locker room between he and the players than there was let on. And he mentioned Gary Sanchez as being one of those guys. So, I know Girardi had his issues with Sanchez because of his catching issues behind the plate. So maybe that was part of it. But there was some talk immediately after the dismissal that there were some issues there.
Which I don't understand, the Sanchez Girardi thing, because think about it, Girardi and Pena. Girardi was a very good catcher when he was a player. Pena was exceptional defensively. You've got two of the best in their generation as far as playing the game. How come they couldn't get through to him or work with him more, or what happened there? Do you know what I mean? And things were happening. I know he pulled him out that one game, or took him on the side during the game and spoke to him in the dugout, which is fine to me. You're teaching, all right? It was a teaching moment. But how come there wasn't more of that? How come under with those two guys there, his skills deteriorated from the year before? First of all, it was his weight gain. We know he put on 15 more pounds. That he couldn't move from behind the plate. He was too slow. He better lose weight over the winter because he needs to slim down again, and he's got to be able to move. That's part of his laziness that I call it. He actually looks lazy at times, Sanchez. But how come it deteriorated? Besides, the weight gain, but under with these two guys, it shouldn't have. Do you know what I mean? If they were more on top of him, when he got that incident with Sanchez, wasn't that more than halfway through the year when that happened?
I believe it was.
Even August, later part of the year?
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah. It was like in August, because Romine did play a number of games in August.
Right. So you had a whole year and nothing was really that we know of. No, I don't mean in the dugout seeing it, but just even addressed at a point. Like, did you talk to him? Did you work with him? Did you, I don't know. I'm something was wrong there. I believe it. I don't know what it is. And whether it's arrogance on somebody's part or whatever, I don't know. But there was a problem there. And I think Cashman saw that, not only with Sanchez, maybe with some other players, the young players. And now you've got this young core. You could see 96. You could see this was like 95. And you could see 96 on the horizon. That's what Cashman's seeing in his eyes. That's what he's seeing. He's visualizing that right now. He's visualizing another, maybe, which nobody said would ever happen again, where one team would dominate. You can. You get good starting pitching, and the bullpen's coming back as is. You can dominate. You can definitely win a couple of rings. So that's what he's looking at. Who's going to steer the ship?
That's the question. And he's also looking at American League right now. You outside of Houston, and I'll even throw in Cleveland in there too. Who else out there in the American League right now is really a legitimate contender? I know people will say Boston, but Boston is having its issues right now. They're going through transition with the manager right now with Alex Cora. I don't know what he's going to turn into. Baltimore,
and their starting pitching's in flux.
Yeah, that's in flux. Baltimore, of course, fell off the map as did Toronto the last couple of years. Kansas City's fallen off here. After what happened to them last year, where their guys got old, and now they're going to lose them all in free agency this winter. So, outside of Houston and Cleveland, who else could be out there to challenge? The obvious answer is the Yankees, and right now, the Yankees can go pound for pound against those two teams. We know they can. Those are very close series against Houston, and they beat Cleveland already.
If the Yankees had hit just a little in the Houston series, they would have won that.
Of course.
Because they had better pitching.
I mean, and
the Yankees just didn't hit.
Yeah, they had that series. I mean, they were 3 games to 2. They had it. It was right in their back pocket. And then, of course, they just didn't come to fruition. If they now, I know the Yankees have come out and said that even if they won the World Series, they would have still fired Girardi. But I have my doubts about that. If they had won that World Series against the Dodgers, and I think they would have if they had gotten there, I think we're having a different discussion tonight regarding the Yankees.
Probably, but what? The one thing about them losing the way they did, those kids learned a lot on the job training. Think about it. Bird, really, it's their first full year. Sanchez, right, he got a taste at the end of last year. Judge, a very small taste. Bird, then was injured, but he's gotten a small taste. This was their first year. Then Bird was injured again this year again. But this was the first year they had to play 162 games and playoffs, and so in a way, I think it's a good learning. Not that you don't want your team to win, but I always thought when they did lose, I said maybe it's better. Because now you're going to know you got so close. You sat in that dugout, you watched Houston celebrate on the field, and you're like, man, that could have been us.
Yeah.
And we got a taste, and now we know what it takes. You learn more by losing than winning. When it's winning, everything's going your way, and you're not learning nothing. You're just doing your thing. When you lose, you learn something. And I hope, and I would think they did, because I think they're bright, this group. They learned something, losing to Houston, and going as far as they did when people never expected them to. Now, next year, the expectations are going to be much higher.
Oh, yes.
And they're going to be expected to get to the playoffs and probably win the division. That's going to be expected of them. So how do they handle that?
That's the biggest question, and that's why you have to find in my mind, you have to find the right guy for this job. It's not for the faint of heart. And that's why I look at the candidates they've interviewed. It's intriguing and also, in my mind, concerning, as I said earlier, and for all the same reasons I mentioned. You need to find a guy, in my mind, that not only can communicate well with these guys, but can be as hungry as they are. Because those players are going to be hungry, right? As soon as they report on February 17th for spring training, they're going to go in there knowing that they are expected to go to World Series and win it, and a lot of those players are going to be hungry to do so and to make that happen. Can they find a manager who can help them, guide them to that point? to make that happen is the biggest key here, is the biggest question.
Well, I know, everybody, the knock on Boone, he's in the booth. Well, a lot of guys came out of the booth.
And Joe Torre came out of the booth. Let's just remember that.
And Joe Girardi came out of the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he went to the Marlins, and then he ended up with the Yankees. So I don't think that's a knock on him. If you listen to his voice, you listen to any of his games, he's very passionate. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he never won a World Series, right?
No,
he didn't win with the Yankees, but I don't think he ever won.
No, he didn't.
So
Go ahead.
Joe Torre never won anything as far as a player except individual awards. And then when he won in '96, it was like, oh my God, I think Boone would be okay. I think Beltran too. I think he would have the respect of them in the clubhouse. He knows the game. He's been around a long time, and they've both been in New York. And you can't. That's so valuable. You know what I mean? How the understanding of New York City, not just New York, the Yankees, the most storied franchise in the history of sport, not just baseball. So what legacy is there? And then you got the New York press, and you got the New York fans, and they're going to let you know, how you're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. They're going to let you know. So there's a lot of pressure there, and this team. You're given, look what you're being given on a platter. Wouldn't any of us want to manage this team right now?
Hey, Mike Francesa does, we know.
I mean, if they called me today, I'd be like, I'm there. Give it to me. You know what I mean? Like, would you want to manage these guys? I think you need someone, though, who's still young enough and who could be a teacher because they're still learning, and they're going to be learning. They're a young group, so that's the guy I lean towards, the communicator. Forget the analytics bullshit because you can send down the book, whatever they do, all right? But I want a guy who knows the players, who communicates well, who's a player coach, who's going to get in their face if needed, who's going to teach them and show them what they're doing. You did this wrong this time. This is the way we do it here. This is how it's going to be done, blah, blah, blah. You need that. You can't make it a robot's game.
You can't. You really can't. It's about managing the players, putting them in the right position to win, and just understand, helping teach these kids because these are still kid players here. They're still learning the game. They've accomplished so much in 1 year, 2 years for that matter for some of those guys, but they're still kids. They're still learning how to play this game. So you got to have someone, like you said, that can teach this team, help teach these guys, and guide these guys along. So I'm fascinated to see how they resolve this. I hope they resolve this soon. Because in my mind, I think it's going on for too long. I hope that they can.
When's the winter meetings? Isn't it soon?
2 weeks.
The 10th or something?
In 2 weeks, yeah.
All right. Do you think before Christmas they'll have the manager?
Let's hope so.
I say before Christmas.
No, maybe
they got to.
They got it because look, I mean, once you get to Christmas, boom, the season's about to begin. So
Oh, and one quick thing with the Yankees.
Yes.
Judge, he was hurt. Remember, he went through that slump. And I told you, I think when we did a couple of shows, and I said, you see his shoulder? Yeah. He's icing it. Every interview, he's icing that left shoulder, and then he needed to be cleaned up, and something was dislodged in there, and that affected him. No matter how much he said, and then he said he was hurting at the end. So all these people, I know Altuve deserved MVP just as much as Judge, and the knock on Judge was those 7 weeks. That's what everybody keeps bringing up. Well, you know what? The guy played hurt. The entire second half of the season with crap in his shoulder and still showed up and still ran into walls and still dove for balls and hung in there and kudos to Judge.
Yeah.
Because he was playing hurt that whole time. He still went on the field and he still did the best he could even though he was struggling at times.
He's one of the more phenomenal. He's a phenomenal player to watch. Really is. I mean, he's really become the leader of that team. He really has. Even if he wants to deny that he's the leader of the team, he is the guy. He is the main man in that locker room right now. He really is.
Oh yeah, and he says all the right things, and he's almost like they said Jeter-esque as far as when he talks to the media, and it's all about the team. And he's humble as anything, and I hope he just keeps progressing and doing better. And now we'll see after the shoulder, because he did come back hitting again, but I think that really affected him. When he was having those issues, I think he was bailing too much on it. It was too much pain for him.
You're gonna like this. According to ESPN, New Yorkers know Aaron Judge can hit home runs. Apparently, a few of them think he can fix the subway system too. This is from the ESPN article. The New York Yankees slugger was among several sports figures to receive write-in votes in New York City's 2017 mayoral election, and Judge got 10 votes. Kristaps Porzingis got 11 votes, and Eli got 1 vote. from there.
Oh my God! People waste their vote.
Hey, look, if Eli's not going to quarterback the Giants anymore, he's got my vote for mayor. If they want to throw what's his face out.
All 3 of those guys are better than who they put in.
Oh, to Bill de Blasio. I'll take Porzingis in his heavy European accent, even though I don't understand what he's saying 90% of the time, over Bill de Blasio any day.
I mean, really, just amazing when people are just so stupid.
It's not a bad idea if they're doing writing.
When it comes to that, really. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I say before Christmas.
All right.
Let's go with that.
Christmas. That sounds good to me. Karen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Wait. Here we go. There we go. Christmas.
There you go.
All right, Karen, I want to thank you so much for coming on, doing these two episodes here with the Giants, with the Jets, with the Yankees. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening. Talk to you next time right here on the Open Mic Program. Remember to follow us on Twitter at OpenMicNJ, Facebook.com/Open Mic Program. And remember, kill that like and subscribe button. Do it right now. Talk to you next time.